Hello, and welcome to As Built, the podcast from Graphic Machine about architecture firms and buildings and how both get built. I'm your co-host, Patience Jones. With me is
Brian Jones,
your other co-host. Thank you for joining us. Today's episode is about expanding your maps, which now I have the Yaz song stuck in my head. I will not sing that for anyone. It would be too painful. What do we mean by expanding your map?
it's definitely not like zooming out on your phone, but it's really when your firm has been historically doing work in a particular geographic location, and you're deciding that there are other geographic locations that you want to try and get new work in.
Or you have been given that work
Yeah.
for those territories as a rep. We're not really talking so much about how do you decide. That can be another episode, but you've decided. Let's just assume you've decided.
It's happening.
So there's a lot more that goes into this than just saying we're going to go there. What are some of the things, the most important things that firms need to think about when they've made the decision to go into a new territory?
I think you touched on a key one, is that if you already have new work that's happening there, that's one thing. And we'll focus on that first, which is you have to start to leverage telling the story of that work and how it's representative of what you're capable of, and making sure that it gets in front of the people that are in that new geographic market. So that might mean social posts that are tailored to that particular kind of outreach. It could mean trying to get in front of audiences and groups where they gather to talk about the work that you're up to. And it could mean getting some press as well.
I think one of the things that it's easy to do sometimes is to think, if you already work in the United States and you're going to go work in another place in the United States, how different can it possibly be? And the answer is very. And there are all kinds of cultural things and microcultural things, from what kind of magazines are the most read and influential, to how do people greet each other, to what is the working schedule of that community. And so the first thing that you have to do, if you haven't done it already as part of your deciding to go there, is to really study the culture, not in an othering sense, but in I want to be a part of this. It is incumbent on me to fit in with this community, not for me to go in and then be surprised when people are put off by behaviors that I have or ways that I have of speaking that are perfectly fine for where I come from, but different to this place.
I think that hits on a really important point, and it's having a mindset that you can't assume that the way that you've approached gathering business in your current community will be effective or appropriate in your new community. So everything you absolutely said is really critical, but really, like, it should be underscored with that mindset for sure.
Yeah, asking questions like, when someone is looking to hire an architect, what's the first thing they do? In some places, it will be to go online. In other places, it will be to check their Chamber of Commerce directory. In others, it will be to ask friends that they see out socially, hey, do you know of anybody? And at some point, all of those are going to be done by everybody. But the order in which they do it, the importance that they put on each thing, people want to know before they hire you that you really understand what the needs and requirements are where they live. And so being able to demonstrate, to your point, previous work that you've done there to show that you have an understanding of topography and climate and building codes and even anecdotal problems that might have happened with other people's buildings in that area, to give your client more of a peace of mind that you've thought about these things.
And I think that's getting at something really critical, which is the idea of people want to feel like you're investing in a future in that community and not that you're just dipping your toe in the water, as it were, hoping that if it works out, then you'll invest, because it can give people pause about thinking about hiring you to do work in that community. So and I think the website is a perfect example where if somebody visited your website and you're in community A and you're moving into community B, then if there's nothing about community B on your website, they may not think that you're serious about really building up your practice in that location.
And no one likes to feel like an also ran. And the unless you're moving into really like a mega city, there are going to be people where you're opening up your new office or doing your new work or moving into your new market who've already been doing what you do for a long time. And they've been invested in that community. They live in that community. They pay taxes in that community. They vote in the elections. They sponsor local events. So, for a lot of people, the idea that you would come in and seek to unseat them, that doesn't fly. And it may take some time for them to see that you're really serious about having a presence here, doing work here, being a part of the community. And there are ways to do that, to your point, highlighting where you're going to be on your website, maybe joining organizations that are relevant.
It may also involve a strategic hire. So somebody that's deeply rooted in that particular community, bringing them on board, showing that you're serious and building out an office that's rooted in that place's history and that's somebody that really understands that market.
It also cuts against concerns people may have that you're going to come in and import people from someplace else and take jobs from people who already live there. So if you're able to make some local hires, that's usually a good idea.
And it shows that you're really serious.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big one right there, is convey with consistent effort that you are serious about this endeavor. That's just something that can't be underscored enough.
I think when firms make announcements like, oh, we now have an office in X place, or we now do work in X market, if what that ends up being in practice is just, we got one large commission in this one place, we're never there, we have a P.O. box, maybe we'll do more work there and maybe we won't, people can see through that.
And it's okay if you did get a job and you're not really invested in building out in that market. And and if you want to incorporate it for the duration of the project and then pull back on that from like an address perspective on your website or whatever, that's normal.
And you see it a lot too, where firms say we do work nationally, which means we do work in lots of places. We're not claiming that we have an office in any of those places. We're not claiming that we have a presence necessarily. And so people aren't going to expect you to be an integral community member because you did one project there, and that's fine. Or maybe you did a handful of projects there. I think it's when you make we have offices in, or we're expanding into this market, or we only want to do projects in this region, that's when people start to expect to see a larger investment from you before they make the investment in your services.
And that's a key distinction in the kind of practice that you have. If you have a more general multi-vertical practice where it would be smart to move into a new market and open up an additional office, that's certainly an approach. But if you're a highly specialized practice that's focused on a very particular vertical where that expertise is going to be sought after no matter where you are, then that should be a fundamental understanding of the kind of firm that you are before you make that decision as well.
If you have made the decision that you're going to, be it open up another office or just announce publicly this intention to have a presence in this other market, what are the must-do things?
The must-dos are to join a civic group of some sort where you'll be able to build connections. That's a big one. To make an announcement in some press format that you are doing this, and to really build out your website in a way that shows that you're serious about this commitment. And then make sure that your social media posts and accounts reflect that. That may mean you need to start an additional social media account that's focused on that geographic market. That isn't always necessary, but that may be something that you see as necessary.
And before you do all of these things, which are all good things and you should be doing them, before you do them, do your research and understand the community, the culture, what presence do other firms have in the market? How are they talking to people? How do people buy? What media do they consume? What events do they go to? What are community priorities? All of those things will help you do the things that you talked about in a way that's effective and doesn't inadvertently cause you more problems. Thank you for putting us on your map, and we will see you next time.